Good morning, Vesperados. We are off on a little adventure today. We are headed to the Mount Evans Scenic Byway, which is the highest paved road in North America. I think at its highest it's about 14,200 or 300 feet, which is, what would that be in meters? 4,300 meters. So I've been riding for about an hour. I left Fort Collins this morning, and right now we are headed into Boulder, Colorado. So it's 9 a.m. morning rush hour, Boulder, Colorado. And from here we're going to take the back roads, or at least not the interstate highway, to Idaho Springs, which is a little town of about 2,000 people tucked up in the mountains. And in 1859, it's where the Colorado Gold Rush kicked off. It's been a while since I've made a video. I've been dying to get back on the bike and make one. I was out of town for probably about a month traveling, and then I injured my back. And I didn't do it riding, I did it moving furniture. And I have a history of back injuries, so that put me down for a few weeks, really, and that overlapped with my travel. But I'm happy to be back on the bike and making videos again. I've never driven this route, so this is new to all of us. I'm not using my phone or GPS, I'm just using my little cue sheet. So as far as I know, we stay on here until we hit Idaho Springs. So we're still outside Idaho Springs, and I saw these guys rafting. These guys are stuck over here. Let's go take a look. There are also a couple of climbers right over here carrying rope. Thought we'd witness their predicament, see how they do. All right, I think she knows what she's doing. Alrighty, let's get rolling before the traffic catches up with us. Tunnel number 6. Idaho Springs, here we come. So the way that that Mount Evans works is these days you have to have a reservation and an entrance ticket in order to enter the park. So it has to be scheduled in advance, and they give you a 2-hour time slot in which you can enter the park. And so our time slot today is from noon until 2 p.m. and it's 10 a.m. right now. So when we get to Idaho Springs, I'm going to stop, top off the tanks, get a drink of water, and just kind of relax for a few minutes, and then try to time it so that we get to the park entrance, I guess, around noon. So we've come out of Idaho Springs, and we're headed down Mount Evans Road towards Mount Evans. Getting a little further back into the mountains, sort of a wooded alpine at this elevation. There's a stream running along the left side here, and back behind us there were some of the rafting companies and a little trout fishing tourist stop. Some houses sprinkled in through here. We've entered Arapahoe National Forest, and we're starting to gain some elevation, getting into some twisties here, seeing more cyclists. Yesterday I adjusted the preload on the rear suspension. When I bought the bike, I had a conversation with the dealer, and they adjusted the preload for me. I asked them to add preload. Ooh, look at this view. great views through this valley. Anyway, when the bike came from the dealer, it had the rear suspension set on the lowest preload setting, and I asked them to click it up a couple of notches, and I thought that they did. And funny enough, I'd never really looked at it after I bought it. I've been riding it for, what, a year without ever looking at the settings on the rear suspension. And I looked at it yesterday and realized that they'd only moved it up one notch, so it was on the second lowest preload setting. And so I measured the sag, and the rider sag, the difference between completely, unloaded and the sag with the rider on it should be about 20 to 22 millimeters, and it was massively higher than that for me. I'm a pretty big guy, and so I clicked it up, the preload up to the highest setting, the most preload, and I still have about 30 millimeters of sag. So I couldn't add enough given these shocks. The ideal thing would be to put an aftermarket shock, but I can really feel a difference on the bumps, and even on the cornering. It feels much more planted, particularly when cornering, and it feels really good. So this is my first long ride since making that suspension adjustment, and that was a good thing. So if you guys haven't checked your suspension, I would suggest that you do that. If you Google Vespa GTS and SAG, S-A-G, you'll probably find some websites and even YouTube videos that talk about measuring the sag. In fact, I think Robot at Scooter West has a video on it, and I would suggest that you do it. Suspension settings make such a big difference, and this is, obviously the stock suspension. I could probably see some even bigger improvements going to an aftermarket suspension system, but for now I'm content. Yeah, anyway, getting closer, getting really pretty. This must be Echo Lake. Mount Evans to the right. Now this is where you have to have your reservation to enter. The fee was $3 for a single person on a motorcycle with a $2 fee, so the total's $5. And I've got a little printout with the barcode. They'll scan us in. The sign over here says temperature 55 degrees, that would be up at the summit. Wildlife sighting, goats and marmots. Wind chill calm. Weather sunny, that's for sure. It's hot down here. In fact, my fan just turned on. Hi there.
Hi. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so away we go. Mount Evans 14. So we are now on the Mount Evans Scenic Byway, the highest paved road in North America. All right, things are going to open up and we've got a little bit of a view. So we're almost up to the tree line. Getting really close. He's really working for the summit. We just get to relax and enjoy. Yeah, look at these views. What a beautiful ride. The temperature's starting to drop. There's a little bit of a wind, but not too much. And the breeze is cool and it feels great. Look at this. Incredible. There's a herd of what I'm assuming are goats down there. They're so far away, you can see it's just a herd of something brown. I suppose it could be some kind of deer or something, but my guess is those are goats. You can see the road angling across there. It's hard to judge the distances and the scale. I don't know if you can make them out, but I can see cars going across there, and they're just little dots. We've got some cars stopped ahead up here, so I'm guessing that there may be goats in the road. Got goats right here. Look at these guys. They can climb. It's amazing. Gentlemen, ladies, enjoy your grazing. Little guy. Gonna trot along here. Don't want him crossing in front. Have a very uneven road surface. I'm sure it's a challenge keeping this road paved with the freezing and the thawing and all of the runoff. Bumpy. I'm glad I dialed in my suspension. It's like a roller coaster ride. Summit Lake Park. We're gonna skip that for now. I like to get around these guys. They're kind of slow. I'm gonna go ahead and pass them. Thank you. Take in the view. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Off we go, guys. Let's hit the summit. I'm glad it's not really windy up here. This thing's so light. Up here in the high winds would be a little nerve-wracking. Can almost touch that cloud. Sure feels like that. It's actually, I think, less nerve-wracking on a bike than it is in a car. This road's narrow enough that when cars pass on those little switchbacks, especially when you've got an edge off to one side, it doesn't feel like there's very much room. This little Vespa's perfect for this road. I've got lots of room to maneuver. Look at this. Really pretty. Up we go. Mile 14. That means we are very close to the top. Another turn where there's nothing but sky. There's the little ground. You can see the switchbacks there below us. There's a goat off to our right. Lady with the camera's taking a picture of it. And this is the summit. Can you see all the people climbing up there? Entering summit Mount Evans. It's much warmer up here than the last time I was here, and there's very little wind actually. It's nice. Last time I was here, people were bundling up. It was a hot day at lower elevations, but it was cold and windy up here. Today's just beautiful. How's it going? Let's sneak in and get a shot next to the sign here. 14,130 feet. Gonna use the side stand. Danger. Summit of Mount Evans, elevation 14,130 feet, Arapahoe and Roosevelt National Forest. We'll park and explore a little bit. Look at this, motorcycles. How convenient is that? Get our own front door parking. See the goats down there? The air's definitely a little bit thinner up here. The castle in the sky. When constructed between 1939 and 1941, the Crest House was the highest structure in the world at 14,260 feet above sea level. Designed to symbolize the night sky, it was built in the shape of a star with large windows overlooking Denver. Interior lights had round globes that resembled the moon. Propane explosion in '79. Highest paved road in North America. (14,060 feet). To the right of it in the distance is Mount Holy Cross. Mosquito Range, Collegiate Range, South Park, Catoctin Mountain, Kenosha Mountains, Sangre de Cristo, and Pikes Peak. Alright guys, let's head back down. Maybe we can time it so that we don't have much traffic. Nice to have the motorcycle parking right in the front. Mount Evans Peak. Thank you. Definitely don't want your brakes to fail along here. The perspective coming down's a little different, isn't it? Stuck behind this guy. Maybe I can get around in a second so we'll have a view. I'm gonna pass him. Make sure there's nobody on that blind corner. Wow, the wind really picked up when I came around that bend. Mount Goliath Natural Area. Let's stop and check these trees out. Do they have motorcycle parking here? GSA. You are standing more than 2 miles above sea level. During a trip from the plains of Colorado to the top of Mount Evans, you experience a change in climate, equivalent to driving from Denver to the Arctic Circle, a distance of more than 2,000 miles. That's what we just did. Let's walk out Bristlecone Loop. Some of these things are more than 1,000 years old. It's amazing, isn't it? Looks like a beautiful piece of driftwood. Quite a patina there.
Thursday.
You were saying it that day when we were doing the dishes?
Yes, it was.
Okay guys, this is it. Time to head back down. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Take care. This was a difficult trip in the making. Took 2 tries. That lady looks very confused. But we had success this time. The super glue seems to be holding well on my camera mount. And it's all downhill from here. try some super glue. The mount that I have on here now, I don't know if you can see it, but it's getting really loose, and the camera, well, here we go, it's just going to come right off. I don't know what it is, it just doesn't seem to want to adhere. I've had it for a couple of years with no issues, and then all of a sudden it just does not want to stick. So we're going to see if crazy glue will work.